Viktor Frankl said, "Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms. To choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's way." This is Finding Human with Sue Jackson. Stay tuned for the next hour as Sue explores the human psyche, what makes us tick, and how to live better, more fulfilled and more meaningful lives. Only on 101.9 High FM.
Hello, this is Sue Jackson on the Finding Human program on 101.9 High FM radio. My guest today is Talya Sieff, and our topic is Voices Raised in Song. We dedicate this program to all the hostage families and the 6 hostages who were brutally murdered by the terror group Hamas over the weekend. Today, we're going to be talking about music, and music is a universal language. And Johann Sebastian Bach says, "I play the notes as they are written, but it is God who makes the music." Isn't that beautiful, Tal?
Amazing.
Let me just tell you a bit about Talya. First of all, Talya is my great niece. She is my niece Amanda's daughter. And Michael, you've heard Michael on this program before. Talya had brought out a beautiful, beautiful song that she composed, played, and got it produced called Esri. We're going to be playing that towards the end of the program. But I would just like to tell you a bit more about her. She went to Hirschline's Girls' High School, and she went then after school. She went to a girls' seminary in Israel, and one of the really great things I think is that she was within the top 1% in English in 2020 in our country in the IEB matric finals. She's currently doing a BA at the University of the Witwatersrand. In the meantime, she does many other things that keep her busy. She's done a lot of courses, and she's very self-motivated. She organizes tasks and talks, and she can work individually or in a group. She's responsible, and I can assure you she's relied upon. Now, she also does do children's service at the Yeshiva Mizrahi 2019. The courses she's done are actually quite varied. It's care clowning, I love that thought, and a listening seminar, the CPR course, and the CSO Protector course. Tell me a bit about care clowning, because I think it will tell us a bit about you.
So I did the care clowning course in school. It was quite an experience. It was basically they teach you how to get rid of all your insecurities and stuff, leave that behind, and just be yourself and go into the hospitals you dress up as like a clown and visit the kids and things like that. But the actual course was about just letting go of what other people think of you and just being yourself. It was crazy course, very cool.
Wow, that's amazing. Now, the strange thing is my cousin's daughter, who's a psychiatrist, she did one of her papers was on clown phobia. Did you ever find any children or adults who felt a bit phobic?
So we didn't. Their whole thing was that you don't look like a proper clown. You just put a tiny red dot. So I guess it was more just like a fun friend instead of a clown.
Okay.
This is Finding Human with Sue Jackson, only on 101.9 High FM.
This is Sue Jackson on the Finding Human program, and my guest today is Talya Sieff. And if you'd like to WhatsApp us, it's 061-895-1019. Talya's also, some of her other interests are music and song and piano and boxing, I see, and reading. Out of all of those, there are 2 that I love, music and reading. Now, tell me about when you first remember enjoying music.
So my house has always been filled with music. My mom's been playing piano since she was so very little, and she taught kinder music, so our house has always been a musical house. And then I started playing piano when I was 8, and I've been playing since then. So it's always been, I always remember just the house filled with music, someone banging on the piano, someone banging the drums, always loud, always musical.
You talk about your mom playing the piano. I mean, you got the most beautiful piano, let's face it. And, I remember Joycey, my mother-in-law, your mom's grandmother, your great-grandmother, teaching your mom to play the piano.
Yeah.
The strange thing is she never taught any of her children, but she loved teaching your mom. And
she was a favorite granddaughter.
She definitely was. and very talented. Your mom was a very talented player. And now tell me, so did you begin to have lessons, or did you just strum away yourself, or what? How did you go about it?
So at some point I remember my mom teaching me a little bit, like a little piano exercise thing, and then I went to lessons at Hannah Green from when I was 8. And I was with her, did exams, did like the whole thing. She was amazing. She taught me well.
Would you like to be a piano teacher yourself one day?
Not my main goal, but I do, maybe at some point.
You could do that.
Yeah, I could teach little kids
Because Talya is very involved with different Jewish day camps, especially B'nai Kiva, and so she has a great influence on children. And tell me about the song that you've written, Esri.
So I wrote this song basically when October 7th happened. I think myself, like everyone else, felt completely helpless. We're sitting here in South Africa or wherever you are in the world, and just felt so far away and disconnected, and really I just didn't know what to do. And then I remembered that there's this famous song on B'nai Camp called Sim Shalom, which Saul Kramer wrote when things were, like years and years ago, when things were terrible in Israel. Can't remember exactly when it was, but he wrote the song, and it's become like B'nai Kiva's anthem, sung at camp every single year, and it's amazing. And that just made me think that, the music is a way to connect to people. This is a way that I'm feeling all these things inside, and people are also feeling these, and maybe I can just let it out in some musical way, and I'll connect to it, and other people will connect to it too.
And I've got a few messages from a few of your students. Not students, your honeys on the camp. Let me just read them out to you. My granddaughter Georgia Kofler was on the camp, on B'nai Camp over the December holidays, and she absolutely adored Talya's song. And this is what she sent. She sent this there's a few from a friend and one from her. I'm not sure which is which, but anyway, it says, on camp we listened to this song for the first time, and it was so powerful. Everyone crying. It really had such a spiritual feeling. It really connected me to the war and Hashem. And then this one, Talya's song really makes me feel warm and connected to everything that's happening. Having my family, some of my family living in Israel, this song really did make me feel proud to be a Jew. Then this one, listening to Talya's song and singing it at camp with my friends made me feel really proud to be a Jew. It gives me hope that our hostages will come home and be returned back to their families.
Wow, that's amazing. That really, really means a lot to me. Prophet, there was a really amazing response. I feel so grateful for how people responded and how they reacted.
How many children were on the camp, or teenagers also?
I think there were about 700 on the campsite, or more. I don't know exactly.
And when did you decide to release your song there?
So after I wrote the song in October at some point, and I was already, I think they asked me to be in the Ruach band in like November and October, whatever it was. And then I just said to my parents, I said it could be cool to play this on camp. Maybe they'll like it. I don't know. And then I ended up playing it for the rest of the band just at my house. And thank God I really just had their buy-in from the beginning. They loved it. They really supported me, really helped me bring it to life. And that's when we thought camp's going to be amazing to do it, in front of so many people. It's got the right message. It's got that sadness for the end of a Ruach session, but also the hope. And yeah, I couldn't have done it without the band. Their buy-in and the camp's buy-in really just helped Esri flourish.
And then your song Esri became an anthem almost at the camp this year in December. Well, it was the end of last year. And when I think about it, it was so close to the October 7th. And I believe that we in South Africa are really traumatized by what's going on in Israel and Gaza. And I think the diaspora is around the world. So I'm hoping that your song is going to get out there and motivate people around the world who listen to it. Just tell me a bit about what was the response as you released it at camp?
So at camp, it was better than anything I'd ever imagined. So I played it first for Muddies Week. So it wasn't as many people.
Just explain what Muddies are.
So Muddies Week, we're the counselors, and we're there. We go a week before the kids arrive, just to prepare and get everything ready. And we have one Ruach session just with the Muddies.
What's Ruach?
Ruach is basically a concert, I guess. Like when the band just plays and the whole bunch of B'nai songs and songs that we play, some new ones and all of that. So this was the first time I played it in front of a crowd, I guess, and it was new. And the response was amazing. People came to me afterwards. People were crying. I think people really connect to that, to the simultaneous feeling of being terribly sad but also hopeful. And I think that's what the whole song encapsulates, like that hopelessness but also that hope.
And we're going to get back to that shortly.
This is Finding Human with Sue Jackson, only on 101.9 High FM.
Hello, this is Sue Jackson on the Finding Human program on 101.9 High FM. I'm with Talya Sieff. We're discussing her latest song that she's just brought out, Esri, but we're also talking about music. I'm about to play a short audio clip, and it's with these two Israeli soldiers and their response after a missile attack. It's actually a photo of them with their guns slung over their shoulders and their guitars as well. And the one is beating, almost like beating a drum on his rifle. Thank you, Craig.
A few minutes ago, we were under a missile attack on the northern border of the state of Israel. We have one clear message. We won't let the enemy break us. We are getting stronger and we will fight until complete victory. Here, under those avocado trees, we want to wish you all of Am Israel, here in Israel, our families in Israel, all over the world, across the sea, Shabbat Shalom, Chodesh Tov, and Am Israel Chai. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Yom, Melech Malachei Melachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Yom, Melech Malachei Melachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
This is Finding Human with Sue Jackson, only on 101.9 High FM.
Hello, this is Sue Jackson on the Finding Human program on 101.9 High FM. My guest today is Talya Sieff, and we're talking about her latest song, Esri. And, those that you've just heard were two IDF soldiers singing after battle. And Hans Christian Andersen actually said, where words fail, music speaks. And it gave me goosebumps when I first actually saw that. Someone sent it to me I think it was on LinkedIn or somewhere. And I just thought, this is what Jews have done throughout history. They have sung in times of absolute devastation. They have sung, whether it's been Psalms, the Tehillim, or whatever it's been. They have turned into music. I mean, people so often associate Jews with Fiddler on the Roof. Now, Talya, we're getting back to you. So you tried it on all your fellow counselors, and they loved it. So when and what time of day did you release it on your campers, the participants in the camp?
So we did it for Muddy's Week. That was kind of the practice run, I guess. And then we did it the next week once the kids had arrived for their first Ruach session. It was like after supper, probably like 7 o'clock, whatever, around then. And the slow songs come at the very end of the session, right? We get them all hyped up, and then we bring it down, and they love it. It's the best. They sing Shema Yisrael. They sing all the songs, and then we introduced it and said kind of what it's about, and it just, thank God, took off. Everyone, we had the words in our songbook, and people, I think, really connected to the words and to the tune, and it was unbelievable. Hearing people sing it and catch onto it was like a surreal experience.
And it was about 500 kids that you were singing to.
Yeah.
That you opened it to.
I think so.
And so when you heard them singing back, did you get goosebumps? What did it feel like?
When we did it for the acoustic Ruach session, which is with everyone in the campsite, and it's more of the slower songs and that thing. When we did it then, and at some point the band, we stopped playing and we just watched everyone else sing Ezri. It was, well, it's hard to describe. It was unbelievable. Hearing everyone just sing it and knowing that they were connecting to it. People came up to me afterwards saying, I didn't cry in any of the songs except for your song. Or like they would just, people really connected to it. And I think when we feel so helpless, especially about Israel, it's very hard. Like, what can we do here? People really connect through music, and that's unbelievable to see.
Absolutely. And, music has a way of connecting you in so many different ways. Sometimes you laugh when you hear a song. There's that Kifnes, the guy who sings with his cat sometimes. I mean, I have a good laugh when I listen to him, and I also tap my foot. So there's songs that you tap your foot to. Your Uncle Leon, he loves tapping away on his steering wheel. He loves music. Or on the tabletop, he's got bongo drums, but he prefers the tabletop to be banging away on. And so music can release so many emotions.
100%.
Sometimes deep grief. And, when it was the young... one of the young hostages' funerals yesterday, and thousands of people participated in all the funerals of the 6 murdered hostages. But then a huge group arrived at the Western Wall, the Kotel, and they were singing there. And, you could just feel the emotion that they were putting across in their song. They were sobbing from desperation, from pain. And then suddenly it almost turned to like a healing session.
100%.
And for you, with music being so important in your life, have you used it for different emotions on yourself?
100%. If I'm having a bad day, feeling overwhelmed, anything like that, I'll go sit at the piano. That's what I do, and whether it be playing something, a jazzy thing that's like a bit fun or something like that, or a super depressing song, whatever it is, I always just feel that release, just sitting at the piano playing. And one of my favorite things to do is have I'll sit and play at the piano, and 2 of my very, very good friends will come over and they'll sing, and we'll just, this is how we became so close. We'll sit and play and sing, and it's the most like amazing experience, and as you said, healing. Like I think music has that power that we don't really, it's subconscious. We don't even know that we're healing, but we are. And
connecting. I mean, you say 100%. Your 2 friends. Would you like to mention their names and thank them?
I think they might be listening now. But Aaron Mitzuk and Danny Sack, we started when we were on gap year together. We'd go find the piano at Harova, and we've just carried on ever since. Whenever we can, we'll get together, come to my house, go to one of their houses, and we'll just do a little little concert.
Do they play an instrument as well, or do they sing?
They sing.
Okay.
They both sing.
Now, Danny Sacker actually had coffee with her mom yesterday, Roseanne.
Oh, no.
And she mentioned to me that you were a good friend of hers, so I'm pleased you said that now. Now, what did you want with your Esri? You put it out at camp, but just tell me about the going into actual publication of it. At that stage, did you think that you were going to publish it, like put it on Spotify, put it on the different musical streaming sites, or was it simply just for yourself and for camp?
So I think at the beginning it was more just, we'll see how this thing goes. And because of the response, like on camp, people would come up to me and say, like, are you going to record it? You should record this. You should be like, please, can we listen to it on Apple Music or Spotify? And slowly, it, it started to take shape. And I started to think, yes, okay, it will be nice to record it. Okay, when I get back home after camp, or whenever it is. And yeah, just suddenly I wanted to write it for me and just write it, then for camp. And then I wanted to share it with everyone and share it with, get it as widespread as possible.
It takes courage, It's a lot of people have said when they're publishing a book or music, you're not sure how people are 100%. Going to respond to it, and so it can be quite daunting. Actually, you've got to have confidence in yourself and your own work.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. I was very lucky because, okay, of course, my family liked it, and that was great. But before releasing it properly, I knew that 700 people had already listened on camp and loved it. So that was, I started off at a very good point before publishing it, which was unbelievable and very lucky. But again, you're never sure how people are going to react. So it does take courage, and putting yourself out there.
Absolutely. And tell me about the recording of it. Who was involved?
So we found a producer, Richard Kuldenberg, who's from Cape Town. Or we got him via. And he was amazing. He's like an up-and-coming producer, and he was great. And I wanted to play the piano in it because that's my main part in it, of course. And I didn't want just any singers to sing it. That's why I asked my younger sister, Tamar, and she sang it because she has the most beautiful voice, and it was, very special to have a family member do it. And then we wanted also just some male voices, because for the choruses especially. So then I asked my dad's friends, Alon Feldman, Terence Assen, and Gabriel Moritz, and they, have been a part of my life, my whole life. So it was very special also having them be there and just having their support as well.
That's so lovely, actually, what you're saying, because with music being a connection, there you were connecting with your dad's friends as well. Your sister, Tamari, I could understand. But I think with your dad's friends, how did they react when you asked them?
It was very sweet. I think they were excited that I asked them. And it was a lot of fun. We spent a day. My dad came with as well. We all did it like a couple of hours together, and it was just a lot of fun. I think it was a new experience. It was cool. It was just great. I think it was just very special for me and for them, to have us all together, and that I asked them and that they said yes, and it was just very special, the whole process.
I'm sure it must have been. Now, you're doing a BA at Wits at the moment. What are you actually doing it in?
So I'm doing philosophy and English. That's what I'm majoring in.
And what do you plan for the future?
I'm not sure. Am I allowed to say that?
Yes, of course. Are you enjoying the course there at the moment?
Yeah, it's great. It's really broadened my mind, teaching me to think. It's very cool.
And you're in the second year?
Second and third year.
Okay. And just tell me, are you encountering any anti-Semitism at Wits?
So I'm part of the SORGES team.
Tell what SORGES is.
SORGES is the South African Union of Jewish Students. So I'm the co-religious officer. and we basically organize like some religious things on campus and things like that. And
for the festivals and things as well.
Yeah, and we try have a minyan on campus once a week and do some learning and like things like that, or we give out Smarties sometimes. That we're there for support as well. So thank God we haven't encountered much anti-Semitism at Wits, but there have been some. There have been a few protests here and then. We had Israel Awareness Week a couple of months ago, which was it was very cool to see people. The random student at Wits, we would say to them, "Do you know what happened? What's going on in Israel? Or do you know what happened on October 7th?" And they had no clue. Some people knew, some people had no clue. So it was amazing that we could share some insights, show people what we're going through, and people were amazing. People said when we told them about Daniel Perez, they said, "We're so sorry for your loss." All things like that. It was amazing. But on the regular day-to-day, personally, I'm not experiencing much anti-Semitism. Thank God.
Thank God, and I'm just so pleased to hear that, because when you hear about all the different universities in America, it's very, very worrying. So good for South Africa.
Yeah, no, we're lucky here. Thank God.
Absolutely, and I mean we went through a lot ourselves, so to get to that point. So hopefully we've learned some lessons. I wanted to actually mention to you also that, the Nova Festival, the Supernova Festival, which was advertised as an open-air electronic dance festival. And it was last October, of course, as we know, on October the 7th. And this was supposed to be a celebration of music. And the organizers built it as a journey of unity and love.
Amazing. And
it turned into, of course, a mayhem of disaster, of death and loss, and deep trauma and sadness. And the type of audience, the sad thing is, that the type of audience that it actually attracted were people who were the peacemakers.
Yeah.
And they were warm, and they just were kind people. Since then, a few people have spoken, and the ones who have spoken have all said that they were peacemakers, which is the saddest thing. And this was it became one of the biggest massacres in Jewish history, with I think they said about 364 partygoers out of 3,000 were murdered, and many, many more were wounded, and many taken as hostages. And of course, they are still in the tunnels of Gaza. So, what song would you like to sing next in honor of people who are also? Well, Esri was one. What's in your head? Does music go on in your head all the time? Do you think about what you'd like to say?
So I guess people have asked me this, saying, when's the next song coming, or are you going to write another one? And you know what? I'm not sure. I would love to, and I play music all the time, and I mess around, and tunes come to me and things like that. But with Esri, it was something special that it really just, I can't even explain how it came to me, but it just came to me. So hopefully, if another moment of inspiration like that happens again, I'll let you know.
So, yes, let me know. That was just really a special time for you. And I was reading an article by Joey Weisenberg, and it says why music is fundamental to Jewish prayer. And it said music is the most immaterial and of all the art forms. We can't see music. We can't grasp it in our hands, but we can feel it working through us and through the world. As such, music represents our connection to the divine, to each other, to everything. Music is a wordless prayer that opens up our imagination to the divine source of all life. And in Hebrew, the numerological system known as gematria, the numerical value of the words for prayer, tefillah, and song, shira, are identical. That's interesting,
Yeah.
eh? From this, we could see that music is a form of prayer, and prayer is a form of music. They are like two legs of the spiritual throne, mutually supporting each other. Indeed, the Talmud teaches us that music and prayer are virtually synonymous, declaring where there is song, there is prayer.
Beautiful.
We're going to be getting back in a minute.
This is Finding Human with Sue Jackson, only on 101.9 High FM.
This is Sue Jackson on the Finding Human program. My guest today is my great niece, Talya Sieff, and you can contact us if you'd like to on 101.9 High FM radio. You can WhatsApp us on 061 895 1019. We're about to listen to a song which was by Eyal Golan, Am Yisrael Chai. He released this on October the 19th, 2023, and in the midst of the Operation Swords of Iron. And it was the number one song for weeks and weeks and is still being sung. We are going to be playing this really in honor of our hostages and their families.
High FM, your station of choice since 2008.
Thank you, Craig. That was beautiful. That was Eyal Golan singing Am Yisrael Chai. Would you like to translate it, Tal?
I can translate a little bit.
Okay.
Well, the main part is just saying that the people of Israel will live, and that extreme hope. It just reminds me of something, actually. I have a sticker on my laptop that says Am Yisrael Chai. It's just, I like to have it at university, and a lecturer walked past me and said, what does Am Yisrael Chai mean? So I said, oh, I'm Jewish. Like, it just means like that the people of Israel will live. And he said, oh, you're Jewish. Mazel tov. Very sweet.
That's so sweet. And I must admit that I have found that quite a lot of children are playing this Am Yisrael Chai, are singing it. I was talking to you just now about music, and Viktor Frankl talks about the different avenues to meaning. And, of course, the one is the creative things we do and the experiential things, what we are experiencing. So music fits into both those
100%.
categories. And that experience can be in so many ways in our rondavel at our house. We've got a very tall ceiling. And the drumming group who have subsequently left to go and live in Australia, but they used to come and run drumming workshops. Yeah. And people used to arrive, strangers, we didn't know them. The two boys who were running the drumming, we also didn't know very well, but they heard about our rondavel. And people used to arrive with their duvets and lie on the carpet with their duvets over them, and the drummers used to start. And then those Tibetan gongs, that you go as well. It was I actually went into a few of them, and it was so amazing. It was meditative. It really was, and you could feel yourself going into a deep meditation. And suddenly the tempo would change, and the didgeridoo they had as well, and that would go and it would reverberate around the whole room. It was amazing, absolutely amazing. So I loved it. And then, I was telling you just now about why music is fundamental to Jewish prayer. And it says music, we might assume, must have opened the prophets' ears, enabling them to hear the divine voice speaking through them. Music, in this sense, worked like an elite reconnaissance unit, sneaking through the prophet's defensive bulwarks and barriers, or like a sweet-talking lover wooing his beloved. It paved the way for the bestowal of the great gift of divine love, of the prophecies, which we have at least partly retained in the words of the Torah and later poetry and writing. And it says it is possible that music also can get us entering into different realms. Well, that's what I've just in different realities. And the 18th century Hasidic master Nachman of Breslov, I can see you smiling.
Yeah.
Is your favorite or one of mine? Offers that there might be something left that we can access from this source of prophecy. A sacred musician, he explains, is called a chazan, a Hebrew word with the same root as the word chazan, chazon, meaning vision, and which is also the common modern term for a prayer leader. Isn't that lovely?
Yeah.
I mean, I love that thought that it's the same meaning as vision. And so, I wanted to ask you a couple more questions, and our time is going very quickly. Do you believe that music can incite violence?
I think the opposite. I think that music steps in when words fail and when we don't know what to say or how to express ourselves. That's when music steps in, and I think that music really brings the complete opposite of violence. I think it brings unity and connectedness and connection and all of that, and hope. More especially what I tried to aim for was that uniting factor and to bring about that hope and resilience.
That's so important.
This is Finding Human with Sue Jackson, only on 101.9 High FM.
This is Sue Jackson on the Finding Human program on 101.9 High FM. My guest today is Talya Sieff, and we've been talking about the power of music. And I've just been asking Tal if she thought that music could be used for violence. And I was thinking about the rugby. And if you see the New Zealanders singing their haka song, the violence of it and what have you, I must admit, I find that it makes me laugh. I don't know if I'd like to go to war with that being sung at me. But even in Scotland, and my family were from Scotland, even then the clans all played they had the leaders who were the bagpipes, and they would play the different songs to rally their soldiers to come and fight against the other clans,
Yeah.
And so definitely it's a rallying call. And it can be a rallying call for music, for peace.
100%. Like a uniting anthem, rallying the troops, that whole, all of that.
And Shulam, the Hasidic singer at the moment, well, not at the moment, but he to me, he unites so many things. He was singing at one of the big Super Bowls in America. And it was for America, America the Great and what have you. And it was so beautiful.
Yeah.
The entire stadium got up and was singing with this fellow with his payers and, his dreadlocks on the side of his head.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing, really beautiful. Tal, we're going to be running out of time. So I actually want you to sing a bit about, no, not sing, but tell me the words of your song. We're going to be singing it at the end, so I'd like you to tell me the words. Do you have to look it up?
I do have to. I have to look up some of them. I'll just say this, that I combined Hebrew and English, which I didn't think I would, but I think that helps people connect. And part of it, I started off saying like I don't even remember how it goes, but. Children are crying, those kind of things to kind of just set the tone. I said sirens are blaring, voices raised in caring, all those kind of things to just try and set the scene. And I mentioned about broken bones and broken hearts. That for me was really something that stood out, that so many people have been killed in this war, so many people have been injured, and so many people are suffering a loss of some kind. And that was really I had different people in mind throughout the whole song. The people who are displaced and kicked out of their homes, people who've lost children, brothers, siblings, whatever it is. And then the Hebrew was it actually came from a Tehillim that we started saying,
which is a psalm,
which is a Psalm 27, which we're going to actually start saying tonight because it's Rosh Chodesh Elul. So we'll start saying it again. So it's crazy that it's almost been a year,
absolutely,
which is really crazy. But I used that because that's what we were saying at that time. And I also used from another psalm, from 121, the whole Ezri Me'im Hashem, that my help comes from God. And that's the whole idea of the song, that while we may be feeling hopeless, while we may be feeling that there's nothing to do, if we believe that our help comes from God and that we can turn to Him, and that's like, that's the only option.
Absolutely. How beautiful. Tell people who you've had an overwhelming response, a wonderful response. People who are going to be listening to your song now, how can they access it?
So it's available on Apple Music and Spotify for downloading and streaming. Just Ezri Talya Sieff should be there. It is there. Or as well, it's on YouTube and various other platforms that you can search, you can download, you can stream it.
And it's EZRI.
Yes.
What does it mean?
It means my help.
My help.
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you so much, Tal, for being on my program today.
Thank you.
I've really enjoyed you sitting with me here. We're in our new studio for the first time, so there might have been a bit of banging that you could hear coming from next door. But Craig, it's great to be in our new studio, isn't it? Thanks so much, and thank you, Makundi, and thank you, Vusi, thank you, Craig. And Craig's going to be playing Ezri Talya's song. If it doesn't come through on the podcast, you can pick it up yourselves, but hopefully it will come through on the podcast. Thank you very much. I'll see you next week.
Chai FM, your station of choice since 2008.
Children are crying, people are dying, soldiers are fighting for us all. Sirens are blaring, voices raising, caring. What is happening to our land? Families struck down by tragedy, so many left without a home. Prayer after prayer, Jews together everywhere. Hashem, please help us now. But we call out with hope and faith for our family and for our strength, as we name Hashem. Oseh Shemayim
Families torn apart, broken bones and broken hearts. Tears stream down our face as we say goodbye to those we love. We pray to God up above. Chazak, chazak, v'nitchazek.
in
my tale.